Hey guys, it is Ration Museum Bulletin number 90. Today is Monday, November 14th, 2022, and we are here in the off-site studio, the My House studio, working on a couple different projects this week. So I'm going to attempt to stream from in VR. I think I have it set up. There may be some issues. You know, I may have to mess around with audio. I still haven't gotten a great test with that, but we'll see. You know, we'll see how that goes. I've got here on the plate, I've got a Kosher MRE. So this is something we looked at a couple months ago, but you know, this is another one from that case. This is the Kosher ration and, well, Kosher entree and accessory packet. There's some really interesting stuff in these. Like this one's got a pack of chickpeas. The other one had a vegan lemon cookie, something like that. That was extremely good. So I'm interested to see what we've got in this particular accessory packet. And let's see, swap over so you guys can see that better. And then interested to try this 2-bean vegetarian chili. Big fan of chili in general, so maybe I didn't check if it has textured vegetable protein, but they're gonna squeeze protein into it, so unless there's a kosher restriction against it, I would assume that that's gonna be in there. So we'll see. I brought a ration heater, you know, just a regular FRH. Oh, actually, never mind. I see that there's one in the pouch here. So I wasn't sure about that. Brought one down, but bumped the camera there. So hey, looks like we got spicy tuna rolls. We got Kaylynn. We got Angry Blacksmith. Howdy guys. Welcome. Good to have you. I hope you had a good weekend. Let's see. So I changed the latency setting this time. I should be able to respond to messages a little faster. So I don't know. I was noticing the other day when I was watching the stream during the stream to catch something that it was like a nearly 30-second delay, it seemed like. So that could explain some slow responses and whatnot. So just hopefully I got that fixed up to near real time. Might make the stream a little crunchier, but you know, it should be all right. So let's take a look inside this. We're going to start with this and then jump to the VR tour. And then I didn't get the scanning space set up, but I have a plan for doing some small scale scanning that I think will work without a ton of complicated setup. Basically, I've got 2 lights over there and I've got a table set up, but I was going to put in a green screen backdrop all the way down, and I ran out of staples for the staple gun. There's also, let's see if I can detach this. I can show you. There's I put plastic up over the ceiling around this area. There's some lights over there. The scanning space is going to be back in there, but go back. All right, so I can turn the one light that's pointing in here over towards the scanning space, and there's another one installed over there. And for now, that kind of keeps the whole area blanketed in light, so it's working out. The scanning is more important now. I have a project for it almost immediately. The VRE Museum right now is a display of ration ads. So like the chocolate as a fighting food and your orange juice is flying over Nazi rooftops, you know, that stuff. Those are all just 2D flat pictures on the wall. So it's, you know, it was an easy starter to get in there. I have 2 Dunkin's candy bars sitting on the reception desk right inside. But other than that, there's no actual rations in there yet. So you get into the lobby. There's some candy bars up ahead. Most people don't seem to know that they're interactive. I mean, they're just props. But then you go into the room that's got all the individual ads, with lights on each of them, and there's a little side room with a theater with half a dozen seats in there, playing a video about wartime rationing. So the next step is going to be to move to a room where people can pick up a particular ration and interact through it and take all the pieces out and then handle, inspect, each of those pieces, read them up close, that kind of stuff. So that's the goal, is to make some high quality scans and get them turned into 3D models. You get those 3D models programmed to work as a unboxing kind of, so that people get that feeling of unboxing a ration, but in VR, or in the desktop game. It's also my hope that I can get this rigged up to work through a browser eventually. So just trying out the new technology. But here's an interesting thing. So it went live to the general public on the 10th. It got approved pretty quickly from their, they call it community labs, where they're testing to see how much engagement these new uploaded worlds get and how positive it is, how many people, they call it favoriting the world, where it gets stored in your address book, which people have a finite number of spaces in those address books. So for somebody to favorite a world means it's probably got some decent content in it. They don't have much moderation. They kind of rely on people reporting problems more so than like going in and reviewing worlds, because there's literally millions of them. So the museum was doing pretty well. It was getting about 10% favorites. So about 1 in 10 people that was going in there was favoriting it. And so it turns out it got through the approval process in like 3.5 days. Whereas some people talk about being in there for months. So since then, it launched on the 10th. So in the last 4 days, it's gotten 600 visits. So 600 people have gone and spent time walking around inside the VR museum, checking out the posters and listening to the videos. And I've heard some pretty good feedback. So this is exciting. 600 people in 4 days. I don't expect it's going to keep on snowballing like that. I expect that was, it gets listed as a new world, and once that drops off, I'm going to need to find another way to get people to notice it. But still, this is a pretty viable means of a pretty viable means of sharing this content with a wider audience and getting more people aware of the museum, hopefully aware of the stream, and aware of the website and the collection site, and the museum's needs and etc. So I think this is working as just like another foot in the door in the social media empire. So gotta work on all these different avenues to hopefully have enough people aware that we have some chance of fundraising and getting an actual space that we can use to set up real world displays. But for now, the VR museum's coming along. I just know that it's a pretty small target audience for computer games and VR specifically. So we don't want to just do that. That's not the goal of the museum. I don't want to just be a VR museum. It's really neat, and I hope people enjoy it. And it'll help with coming up with ideas for laying out and executing on setting up real world displays and coming up with concepts and kind of trialing them to see how they work. Sorry, pardon me for a second. I just keep seeing this camera flickering, and I remember from last week I wanted to see if I could do anything about that. So, let's see, focus mode, aggressive. All right, that's probably not it. Hmm. So I'm just checking to see if there's something that controls like the refresh rate or anything, because it's not. It seems like it's like that might be why it's flickering, but it doesn't look like I can control that specifically. I did change the resolution to make it more clear this time around. Well, last time around. But yeah, that's about when it started flickering, so I may need to just mess with this later. I don't want to get too in-depth with it on stream. I'm going to see if maybe reducing the quality just a little bit more makes much of a difference. So I'm wondering also, since, you know, the size of the actual video is substantially, you know, bigger pixel-wise to go to from 720 to 1080, and all that extra data, you know, it could just be that it was, you know, a little too much to push and decode fast enough over this old Wi-Fi or something. But it's looking like reducing it helped. I don't think the quality looks too bad. Let's zoom in on something. I think it looks good. Okay, so I'll call that pretty good for now. So anyway, so that's where the VR museum is. We're gonna do this kosher ration. Then I'm gonna go up and swap over to that, and then we'll take a look around through there at, you know, head level and hopefully hearing it, and you know, then we'll see about doing some scanning. Should be a fun one. Hey Mike, welcome to the stream. We got Mike Kreischer reviews jumping in. Saw you posted another review this week. I gotta check that out. Alright, so let's see what we've got in the accessory pack. Well, first, we've got the, let's see, the entree this week is the 2-bean vegetarian chili. And in there we've got watered diced tomatoes. Let me try and shake a little less. Watered diced tomatoes, which is tomato juice, salt, citric acid. We got modified food starch, dehydrated potatoes, textured vegetable protein. Hey, what did I tell you? Tomato puree, which is tomatoes and citric acid. Corn, kidney beans, black beans, green pepper, modified food starch, chili powder, cumin, jalapeno, onion, sugar, ground mustard, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, and salt. That is a wonderful, wonderful sounding list of ingredients. There is nothing crazy in here. There's no like dihydrolyzed potassium, you know, etc., etc. There's just, you know, food, spices, etc. Okay, so we've got that entree. We've got the best wishes. From La Briute, and the card for the accessory pack. It doesn't have the contents listed. These are generic. So that's why it's always kind of a surprise. This has a little air in it, it seems. So this, we got a vegan lemon cookie. I was kind of hoping for something different. We got dry roasted salted peanuts. I guess I must have grabbed, I think we might have seen most of these sides. Well, we'll see. We got the barbecue chickpeas. it comes with an entire package of Kleenexes as the napkins. Did that puff out? No, okay. We've got some hot chocolate. I forgot to boil up some water, so I'll have to do that in a minute. We've got these awesome little packets of iced tea. Very much a fan of these. Oh, and hey, check that out. So I've got it on aggressive focus. It should be pretty darn quick. Heck yeah. I am a fan of that. So I won't have to like sit still for a billion years to oh, I guess I'm just a little too close there. So yeah. All right, I'm happy with that focus. It might kind of jump around anytime I put anything in there. You see it kind of like try and lock on for a second. So hopefully that's not too annoying. But let's get the ration in the heater. Wonder what my cat's knocking over outside the wall here. So this is your classic MRE heater with the always hilarious rock or something. Yeah. So you've had one of these, or you've had these before. The cookie is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I am happy that I'm going to get to have another one, but I gotta say I'm curious to see what else is among these things, and I should have been more careful when grabbing an accessory packet. To be honest though, I did grab this with the intent of shipping it to Yossi, but I had a problem with his address not being accepted, so, and not matching the criteria, so either something got lost in translation or I'm not sure, but I have a package from him that I gotta double check, see if I've got that. Anyway, so I'll grab another one when I go back to check that. So I wasn't necessarily worried too much about what the contents were when I grabbed it. The My Own meals I haven't had in years. I think they're mainly, aren't they mainly the halal? Or did they also do the kosher earlier on? Because I'm not sure if, you know, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if the contract with La Briute for kosher is exclusive. It may be the case that, you know, more than one, I'm just kind of, I do kind of like a, sorry, let's see, kind of like a curve and then rock the liquid into the cells, and usually that gets it going pretty quick. In this case, there's no sleeve, so I'm just going to take the box, pop the end. Actually, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, why would it matter if the bottom sticks out? So I'm just going to jam this in the box. And yeah, that is what, sorry, it's been a while. I got so used to the sleeves I forgot about just jamming the ration back in the box. Okay, so let's get this iced tea mixed up. So they give you 2 packets, and yeah, as I recall, this doesn't. Yeah, as I recall, this doesn't have instructions as far as like how much water to add. Just says 2 grams, you know, 5 calories. It doesn't have a, you know, weight, gram weight when mixed or anything. The front certainly doesn't have any specific detail. These are those, you know, sometimes pretty clear, sometimes pretty washed out labels, but it's good stuff. It's sugar-free though, which is always an interesting choice for a ration. Because you'd think, you know, if you're going to put the drink in there, it's just another excuse to get a couple calories in. Although, maybe studies have shown, you know, it's just better to get them to drink more liquid no matter what. And if it's too sweet or if they're averse to sugary drinks or something, I don't know. Kaylynn's saying, CT sent me a case that was my own meals. The accessory packets were in a box inside the main box. All right, so it sounds pretty much the same approach as these. This was one box of the entrees and one box of the accessory packets within the main box. I'm just gonna mix this up, see what strength it is. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, we'll see what strength it is and then I'll put in the second, but I absentmindedly just put in 2 anyway. This is gonna be crazy strong because this is not a big cup. Holy heck. I like that, but I am gonna consume a bunch and thin it back out. All right, let's pop that back there and take a look at this cookie. So I think the same thing happened last time. Like the inner pouch lamination is strange. Oh, okay, no. Maybe it's just a separate packet. That's right. Okay. I think I just had the same thought last time. So we've got a little individually wrapped cookie, which is really more, I think, like a super squished muffin top. Put that there. It's really soft. I very much like that. All right, the hot chocolate. I'm wondering how that would mix up cold, so you know what, we're just going to try that. If it doesn't mix up, I can always take it up and microwave it. So these just plain paper packs, I would be interested to see how they hold up over time. If the hot chocolate, you know, if the milk powder kind of sours faster in these than it would in, well, I mean, I'm sure it would be faster than in a regular MRE pouch, but by how much? How much? Like, doesn't make much of a difference. Should mix it with 7 ounces. I think this is about an 8-ounce tumbler, so you know, I basically made it twice as strong as I should have. So yeah, I drank about half of it and filled it back up. Hopefully, it should be pretty good at that point. All right, let's get these peanuts out. And we got our chickpeas. You know, and my apologies, I'm going to go back and take a look at the ingredients and nutrition on these things. All right. So we've got the vegan lemon cookie. We've got gluten-free oat flour, cane sugar, canola oil, natural rice syrup, fruit juice, potato starch, tapioca flour, leavening, which is calcium lactate and calcium carbonate, cream of tartar, interesting, cellulose gum, modified cellulose. I think we talked about this the last time. When I see cellulose gum or modified cellulose, I'm generally thinking, you know, like sawdust. It's not necessarily, but it has been in some cases. Lemon extract, vanilla baking soda, xanthan gum, salt, sodium benzoate, natural mixed topopherols. Okay, so I think those are like cents. No, I think I'm wrong. Either way. That's not a ridiculous ingredient list, but it's certainly not as you know, just basic food, and I mean basic, like, you know, fruits, vegetables, and spices like the entree was there. So we got 280 calories. So it's about the same as a pound cake, like a whole pound cake in this little cookie. So it is kind of like just a crushed pound cake, or crushed muffin top. We got 9 grams of fat, 1 gram of saturated fat, no trans fat, no cholesterol. No cholesterol at all. Okay. 115 milligrams of sodium, 44 grams of carbs, 2 dietary fiber, 23 grams of sugars, 3 grams of protein. All right, and the peanuts, the ingredients, I'll save you some time, are peanuts and salt. So that's that. We've got 280 calories for this pack, broken down mostly fat and protein, 24 grams and 12 grams. So chickpeas are going to be, okay, we're looking at 300 calories for the pack of chickpeas, 11 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat. So mostly carbs in this one. High sodium though compared to some of these others, 420 milligrams. Even the peanuts only had, oh well, 380, so pretty close to that. We've got chickpeas, high oleic oil. Uh-oh, like Olestra. Contains 1 or more of the following: canola and or sunflower seed. All right, we've got salt, sugar, dehydrated vegetables, onion, tomato, garlic. We got spices, yeast extract, natural flavors, extractives of paprika, torula yeast, and less than 2% silicon dioxide. Okay, it's a anti-caking agent. Just keeps stuff from sticking together. Hey, we got Ration M. Welcome back. Good to have you. Why does a halal MRE have an expiration date of 2 years? So the halal MREs, the accessories in those, in some cases, are in a fairly thin kind of foil pouch that's not really great for holding up long term. And unlike, you know, and this is kind of similar to these kosher rations, there's not a ton of preservative agents being used or necessarily low moisture entrees being made. So we've got, you know, rations that generally are good for a year, components starting to go at the 2-year mark, and so on. Hey, we got DJ Teo over on Twitch. Welcome. Good to have you. Have I seen Luma Labs AI? Thinking it'd be cool for some scans? No, I don't think I have. Is that like a photogrammetry? Like a photogrammetry app, or is that, you know, I need something. Let's see, I need some, I may specifically need to get like an iPhone just for scanning. Although at that point I probably, excuse me, probably should just get a dedicated scanning machine. I was just hoping to eventually, you know, put that in a fundraiser and get, you know, something decent, like a handheld multi-camera 3D scanner. This is great. I'm looking at, let's see, I'm looking at a little trailer for this. So it looks like it could just be photogrammetry, but if it needs, oh, okay, it needs an iPhone. Okay, yeah, so no, then it's using, so the iPhones have LiDAR, and none of the other phones do, at least that I'm aware of. There's no Android phones running LiDAR that, you know, you can use these kinds of apps, because people are only developing them for, oh, it doesn't need the LiDAR? Well, if it works with a Pixel, I can try it. I don't have any iPhones, but yeah, that's that's pretty darn good output. Like, I've tried a whole bunch. I was actually gonna potentially try another new one this week. What was that? Polycam. I was gonna try Polycam. I was watching, I can't recall. I was watching something over the last week that the guy used Polycam to. Oh, what's his name? Now it's escaping me. He does the weekly. He uses a single eyepiece like for his teleprompter and all that stuff. He does like teardown videos and hacking videos. He did some hardware hacking stuff initially. Anyway, crazy great guy. But he was using Polycam recently, and the output was pretty darn good for using the non-LiDAR version. So I wanted to give that a shot. This is a scan you did. See, I was using. Well, hey there, Robbie the robot. See, what's so impressive about that is all the dead space around, within it. Like, it's got that nice. The resolution on the surface looks a little potentially low. I'm not sure if that's just the version for Twitch, but let's see. I've got. Let me swap back to this for a minute. Do I have a way of showing? We'll see. So I was using Matterport is one that I was really liking. WideR I think was another one I was liking. Let's see, was WideR what I'm thinking? Yeah, WideR I really liked. So I don't believe I have this ready for viewing online anywhere, so I'm just gonna commit a cardinal sin and hold my phone up to the camera. I am gonna put a Chromecast on one of the, so I've got like 3 HDMI capture ports on this thing. Oh, Teo, you might appreciate this. I picked up a Yuan capture card for $70. That was a 4-port 1080p 60 FPS like $1,500 capture card like 2 years ago for like $70 because it was a 4-port and port 3 was dead. And years later, yeah, port 3 is dead. I'm not going to try and fix it, but the other 3 ports work fine. All right, so this one, let's see, we will. Yeah, that's right. I've got the. So this one you could get really good like up close detail. Like the individual stitching on stuff, and like the small text on things. So this was a. See, so this was a ration. There we go. A ration heater that. Yeah, I think it scanned pretty darn well, but I'm always trying new stuff, so I'm definitely going to give this one a shot too and see what I get. What I'm trying to find is something that works okay or has some AI correction for reflections. So a lot of the items in the collection that need to eventually get scanned are like bright gold colored cans, and there's a lot of like clear items, Mylar items. There's shiny plastic stuff has been a problem too. Like a lot of this stuff is pretty shiny plastic. Oh man, totally forgetting about the chili. It's still hot though. right, let's see. We got some piping hot chili here. And then, by the way, it's good to see you. Let's see, we got. Oh, I got a little more water than I would like in there. Well, hey, I've got a mountain of these as napkins today, so let's waste one. All right. This one wants to stick to the inside of the bag more than most. I was worried there for a second it was going to come out kind of, you know, sugary, gloopy, which not my favorite, you know, when it comes to these bean rations, but it's fine. It is definitely a regular chili consistency. Not you know, basically like a bowl of ketchup, or I don't know what you would describe like the bean salads as. But they're pure sugar. I mean, this thing, what do we say? This is 210 calories. So this is 210 versus the bean salad's 550. And it's the same size entree, the same size portion. I'm just gonna move all this stuff over. Oh, so I also got a little packet of salt and a little packet of pepper, McDonald's style. So we'll stick those right there. Now this way I'm not eating 100% sideways. Should be a little better. We'll try and stabilize the camera a little better than that. All right. Now let's see, I missed, oh, that's not a touchscreen. It's Nerf photogrammetry, much higher quality than anything you've tried. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, and you've tried Polycam. Sorry, I wasn't catching your texts, or I mean your messages as you've gone through. So, tried Polycam, got it. Not as high detail as you'd want. That WideR one, so far, has been the nicest detail level in the end result that I've gotten. But I've been using Clone with a Q, Qlone, for a while, and getting really nice scans out of it. Like if you go to rationmuseum.com, or actually I've got the ability to do this. That took a lot longer than I would want to load. I've been thinking about swapping my host, and that is definitely pushing me in that direction. Because my collection site, I host myself, and it's insanely snappy. But this, I've been hosting with this company, Angry Hosting, for years and years and years. And they're just winging it, you know, or they're just phoning it in at this point. They haven't put any new effort into it in a long, long time. So, yeah, so these were the early ones I was doing with Clone. And yeah, now looking at them, they're actually, they're pretty darn detailed. Wait, can I do a separate page of this? Yeah, so they turned out pretty good, but they're not they're not perfect. Like this is a fairly small candy bar. Oh, let's see. The lighting and coloring and stuff, you know, left a lot to be desired. What the heck? Okay, there we go. But you know, for the purposes of cramming these things in the virtual museum, this is good, and I may come back to these. The export options on Clone are great, you know, in terms of like getting whatever file type you need. But I need to do something that's gonna produce fewer polygons in the end, or find a better means of reducing than I've been using, you know, after the fact, because you know, I'm not doing as well with the 3D models as I did with the scans, or with the, you know, like flatbed scans. Selling the models, actually, you know, I want to give them away in the end. You know, it's just another inroad for people potentially finding the museum. I mean, we may sell them, because that could actually generate some revenue for the museum. But, you know, there are a lot of free packs of this sort of stuff already. You know, and honestly, some of that stuff I'm going to potentially use to populate the online museum, maybe. You know, it'd be nice to know that everything that's in there exists in the actual collection. I've been trying to mix this, oh, let me swap cameras back. I'm trying to mix this chocolate milk, but it doesn't want to go all the way. So I've got a scanning setup that should theoretically be able to do, you know, up to like, excuse me, like 2-foot cube items. And, you know, with that clone setup, but, you know, with WideR, I think I can do, you know, much bigger than that. But I'm gonna have to check out that Luma, was it? Okay, yeah, Luma AI. I'll definitely give that a shot too. Right now I'm just in the whatever works. You know, is what I'm still in the like just try it out, because I haven't scanned 100 things yet. I've only scanned, you know, a dozen. Well, that's not true. I scanned a whole ton of packs of cigarettes and stuff one time on one stream. Okay, so first thoughts on the chili. You know, thankfully it is still actually almost hot. This is not salty enough. Hopefully that breathes some life into it, but it's kind of a, you know, it needs all of it. It's kind of a bland flavor, if I got to be honest. There we go. Okay, so I think they're just being conservative in terms of like people's sensitivity to saltiness. Because with that whole pack mixed in, you know, it's substantially more normal tasting. So this is a 2-bean vegetarian chili kosher ration, Kosher MRE. So let's see, here's the insert from it. And the 2 beans are kidney and black. So we've got a handful of both. Let's see if I can get any of the black beans. I mean, it's more sauce than beans, but they do exist in there. yeah, and then some corn and bunch of good spices. So I mean, overall, you know, with the full packet of salt, I'd say this is pretty good. Without, my personal tastes just demand more, I guess. Actually, I'm saying, oh, but I got the latest halal MRE as a retort pouch. So it's the entree is probably going to last the longest, but it's still, you know, without some level of preservatives, or I'm not sure if, you know, the halal rations skip any part of the process, like, you know, if they're thermostabilized differently or anything like that. But honestly, you know, I've had them a few years old, and you know, the things that are starting to go bad are like the trail mix, the dates, you know, the like sesame sticks or potato sticks or whatever they happen to have in them. Those things in the smaller Mylar pouches on the sides. I mean, as the sides, those are what tend to be going bad already, you know, or leaking or whatever. So I mean, there's also kind of an aftertaste with this that I'm not quite picking up. Might be. No, I'm not sure, but there's just kind of maybe a flavor of the pouch. Probably not. This is the vegan lemon cookie. Man, oh man, these are good. You know, 7 of these would be your entire day. All right, so the peanuts are salted, so they're just roasted salted peanuts. So the lot number structure on these doesn't make it super easy to figure out when they were produced. So we got 1V21 29 8A1. So I'm not sure I could really guess out of that. You know, it's not going to be 2021 298. Well, okay, maybe. So 2021, the 298th day. So that would be around right for production. Okay, so what about the entree? Nothing on the outside there. We got 21200 on that. On the vegan cookie, we've got 22034. Okay, so I take it back. I think we cracked the code. The super complicated dating code they've got is a 2-digit year and the day of the year. So, all right, so this ration contains pieces packed anywhere from 200 days into 2021 to 35 days or 34 days into 2022. So, you know, pretty general era. You know, nothing too, excuse me, nothing too old in here. So we've got the barbecue chickpeas. Okay, wow, those pull the moisture right out of your mouth. They strike me as incredibly salty at first, which is crazy considering how unsalty the entree tasted, and I was concerned there for a moment that they were, you know, trying not to offend anybody's palates that, you know, might be sodium averse, but they're gonna have a shock eating those. Hey, rock or something. How's it going? Hope you're having a good Monday so far. Just getting closer to the end of this Kosher MRE by La Briute out of, I want to say, New Jersey. Yeah, Lakewood, New Jersey. You have that rock tattooed on your arm? That's awesome. I have Burning Man and Lost on this arm, and barcode back there, but that's it. I do need to get something Ration related and something Fallout related. I've been wanting to get a Fallout tattoo for like 15 years, so I think it's probably time. I've been going since 07. It's been simultaneously the best thing I ever did and the worst thing I ever did so many times, you know. Burning Man can be a amazing, wonderful, fantastic adventure and a waking nightmare that you just know you can't escape because of the, you know, the physical barriers between you and getting out, like all that stuff. So it can be all sorts of things. This year was insanely hot, insanely dusty. Worst heat and dust since like 2008 for me. 97. Okay, so you went to a different, you know, you went to a different thing entirely. Much more. Okay, so I went last year. We, you know, the event was canceled, but about 20,000 of us went anyway, and without anyone running anything, set up, you know, a haphazard kind of city structure around a circle, but with no real streets, no street names or edges or anything like that, just camps and clusters, you know, with kind of space to move between everything, lots of space to move between everything, and, you know, no massive structures or installations because the, you know, the government stepped in at the last minute and banned all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it was, you know, there were a lot of folks that were commenting how they hadn't seen it like that in, you know, 20 plus years. Oh, okay, so totally different desert even. Yeah, okay. Second handful of those, they don't strike me as salty, but they still strike me as very salty. Oh God. There was more unstirred chocolate at the bottom of this mug. Just kind of a big chunk of it, so it made a really rich, you know, do they call it hot chocolate or drinking chocolate? Because it really feels more like, okay, they just say hot chocolate. It feels more like a, you know, like a British drinking chocolate. And there's still a chunk in there. All right, let's get through the bulk of the rest of this, and I think I'm gonna have to save the nuts and chickpeas for a later snack. You know, rather than just sit there and eat 600 calories of nuts. Yeah, I would say, you know, the overall flavor of this 2-bean chili is a little underwhelming. There's nothing bad about it, but honestly, you know, I'm glad this one didn't end up being the one I shipped out to Yossi, because well, we can do better. I can find a more flavorful one in the mix. So, I'm just going to wrap up the last of this cookie, take another handful or two of that, and then I'm going to swap over to the NDI feed, which is running from another computer upstairs that is currently running some VR. And if everything didn't fail, I should be able to go up, get in there, and get control of that computer's streaming setup and push that back down into here and out. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna have chat in there, so I'm gonna need you guys to tell me if, like, for instance, you can't hear anything, or you know, if there's any big problems jumping out. Yeah, the peanuts are really good. There's yeah, they're still very fresh, so there's no hint of you know, oxidation or anything. Oxidization, sorry. Which leads to what? What? That's right, rancidity. Rancidity is just oxidized fat. Which, man, those really do dry your mouth out. Which reminds me, I want to do some research on who came up with and what led to the Army fat-free mayonnaise, because, you know, obviously the point of it is that there's no fat to oxidize, so it at room temperature isn't going to go rancid, and, you know, basically ever. And it's kind of a miracle. It tastes pretty darn good. You know, this is coming to mind because I had some earlier today, but you know, with the pouched white chunk chicken, or chunk white chicken, I did 2 of the mayonnaise packets and 1 of the chicken and 1 of the little Tabasco sauce, and mixed it all up, and it was, yeah, it was really good. I've kind of gotten used to the mayonnaise, but I want to know more about the story of it, because it's a pretty fantastic invention to take basically oil and water emulsified with egg and to somehow make a version of that that's extracted all the fat, that still tastes 85% of the way right, but is good for a decade or more. It doesn't taste right, you know, spicy. I would at least agree with you there that it doesn't taste right. You know, like, but it doesn't taste, to me, bad or incredibly wrong. But yeah, it certainly doesn't taste like regular, you know, Hellmann's mayonnaise or, you know, whatever. It tastes different, a little sweeter, but you know, the tang is just about right. All right, so I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna swap into VR. and we're going to give this a shot. And hopefully I can give you guys a quick walkthrough of the VR museum, and then we'll try and do some scanning. We're looking pretty good on pretty. Man, really, those little tiny chunks of peanut and/or chickpea get caught in your throat really easy. All right, so I'm going to swap over to the camera that's working up there and make sure that audio's doing what I want it to, because I haven't done this, and then we'll go from there. So the music will cut out just so it doesn't clash with the other music that's going to be coming from that computer. So it will go silent for a little bit. My apologies for the lack of nice chill lo-fi beats while you wait for me to go live up there. So just give me a couple minutes and I should pop up on screen from InVR. All right, see you again in a second. Okay. Hey. There we go. All right, I'll turn that down a bit. So we should have some nice lo-fi coming from the museum, and should be able to hear me. And now let me see if I can get my regular chat going. Okay, so there we go. Now I can see chat. All right, I see Spicy saying sound and very nice. So can you confirm that you can actually hear me talking, Spicy? Sweet. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I'm just going to move this over to there. All right. So there's some controls and stuff that you guys probably couldn't see that I was messing with just now. So, okay, we are in the Military Ration Museum. I made this whole building. I'm super excited about that. It took a little while to figure out a whole bunch of new things. I'd never done any 3D anything before, no modeling, but everything here's scratch. Everything's extruded from just basic shapes. It's a labor of love, but I'm pretty excited, for the output. So we've got, an explanation of the current exhibit. So, on the home front during World War II, production and supply took on a war effort first mentality. Civilians needed regular reminders of what their sacrifices meant to the nation. The food and comforts they did without allowed fighting men and women to keep going and to have those all-important reminders of home. So please enjoy the collection and please visit us at rationmuseum.com. And then over here I've got just like a little reception desk. Put a little shelf in there in case you need to hide these candy bars from anybody and you don't want them knowing about them. You can stick them down there. People can just kind of spawn into this anytime, day or night, and private ones, public ones, where groups of up to 30 people could be in here hanging out. The most I've seen was there were 34 people online at one time in various chunks of the museum. So I wonder, if any of them were pretty big groups. And this just kind of talks about the museum itself. So, okay, so now we can go into the actual exhibit, which, as you guys can see, is, oh, hey, my controls are a little wonky there. Hey, sorry. We've got 62 ads on the walls in here from the collection. All of these were scanned in on a flatbed, and you can get in. Whoa, sorry, I almost stuck my face into the wall in my house. Okay. So you can get up pretty darn close on these in terms of checking out the details, and they stay, pretty decent fidelity. So that was a challenge, getting these in here without wasting a ton of people's bandwidth, to load a whole ton of giant images. So these are actually, these are like 3 or 4% of their original size, and they still turned out pretty good. So we've got all the different ones we've looked at before. Oh, and let me check on chat. I need to keep a better eye on that. All right, you guys aren't talking. That's all right. So over here in the corner, I've got a door that's all sealed up. That's going to go over to the next exhibit. I'm not sure if it's going to be a portal that takes you to a second world, or if it's just going to be another room in this same world. I haven't decided yet, but that's not super important just yet. So folks can come through and they can take a look. You know, I've got them in series, so if there's more than one from the same company, they're together. Is this surface reflective? No. Okay, good. Yeah, I love this one. It's men in a submarine, it looks like. I keep almost stepping through my boundary. This is the first time I've ever tried to live stream from within VR. And I'm doing it wirelessly too, which is a little iffy. So there's a lot of bandwidth moving around on my network. You know, like 866 megabits going into this thing, and then another 400 going downstairs, and then another, I don't know. It's a lot. No, the pipe is 866. No, this is 60. This is 60 megabit. Anyway, the NDI though, that's usually a pretty large chunk. So here we go. Here we got the Victory Vitamin C ads on the wall, gigantic. You know, you can walk through, check them out one by one. And then this much larger one that was 2 pages, I stitched back together, and you know, I can't even really tell, you know, just barely the seam that was between the two images that went back together nice. So I figured I'd keep that one at a little bit bigger scale than the rest, just because it's like such a nice like edge, you know, edge piece for this one wall. These awful lights I made myself. Started with a cube, stretched it, flattened one end, pushed up the inside. Well, I mean, all of that's like involving like slicing little pieces of it and then changing, extruding, pushing surfaces, and then took a cylinder and just stretched it, squished it, and made it basically put out light. Similarly, I got a mirror surface along here to help bounce light, you know, into this area. But these I have lit with a shader that's even, so that they didn't get splotchy or strange from the yellow light. That I think gives a nice mood to the whole space. But yeah, this scratch built. Oh, and I saved the best for last. Here's the theater.
The point rationing system. All these foods are grouped together, and your ration book is used to buy those you like. Those items which are not so scarce will take fewer points. Items which are more scarce will take more points.
So the audio for this doesn't kick in until you're actually in the theater. So, you know, you can walk around and you don't hear this, but this is just playing all the time. So you can, my poor computer's probably a little angry at all this. Poor computer, no, this is a powerhouse. This thing should be a lot happier. GPU's being pushed a little. I'm at 70-something%. I have a little display there on my arm. But yeah, overall, seems like we're working. So you can grab a seat in here and just kind of sit and enjoy.
And stores will post the new point values. Here's an example of how point rationing works. This lady, all decked out with her family's brand new ration books, starts out to do some shopping. First of all, she wants to buy a can of peas.
Is this stuttering for you guys?
She wants to buy a can of chicken soup.
Hey, we got Oscar. How's it going, man? Good seeing you. Yeah, this is the VR Ration Museum that I've been working on. So it's live as of 4 days ago. and it has gotten 600 visits so far. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's a good start. It's an exhibit mainly of advertisements right now and that one little movie, but we're going to move on to actual rations that you can take apart and pick up, handle, look at in detail, and then take the pieces out and take the next pieces out, etc. Sound came through clear? Cool. Yeah, it's being streamed to my headset wirelessly, and there's some compression going on right now that's not super clean, but I don't need to stream it. I have a different headset for wired in. This worked. This was easy for right now. But it's crazy, like even just out here, I had to learn how to make these buildings, and I made all these, going down the streets so that it felt more natural, and put the streets together and the sidewalks and all that stuff so that when you're in the lobby, you feel like you're in a building, and it feels natural. I did all the the granite trim on everything, and the granite countertops. Found this lamp and made a little cone for its light to hit the surface there. I mean, like just little details, but it was a really cool learning experience, and it's going to make each phase, easier. The next phase is going to involve some programming, so that I can have, one item that you pick up, then spawn a sub item and additional sub items into the world that, you can have all in front of you, and you can take apart an MRE into its 6 or 7 different inner pieces, and you can take out a case of rations and pull them all out, and etc. Like I'd love to get to the point where the exhibits can be something that you wouldn't get in a real museum, in the sense that like you can pick them up and look really close and get the finite details out of them, and handle and get that unboxing experience for yourself without actually touching any of the stuff. So I'm hoping that over time more people get to use it, but again, it's just one of the avenues that that I'm going down to try and attract people to the idea of helping build a in-person real museum with actual displays and archives and a research wing, and just something that's a little more impactful than a room in VR and a couple websites. But I'm very proud of those things, I will say. Hey Mike, welcome back. We're in the VR museum. We were just taking a look around. I'll go back in the theater one more time.
And then there's the farm labor shortage. All this means that we at home will have less canned fruits, vegetables, soups, and other processed foods for our use. Without rationing of these foods, some people would get more than their fair share. Others would not even get what they need. But rationing assures everyone of his fair share. That is why your government is rationing canned fruits and vegetables and other processed foods. Until now, we have been rationing one item at a time, like sugar and coffee. But processed fruits and vegetables are not one product.
So this video is about, it's introducing the public. This was aired on TV. This was aired in theaters before films. This was telling the public basically, okay, we're moving into a new phase, and in this phase you're going to get books. And those books are going to have coupons in them, and those coupons are going to correspond to types of foods, and they're going to have point values on them. And those points are going to be displayed in the store and in a book that you can reference, because they're the same across the country. What you can get will come down to what points you have available, so that in general across a category of foods you're not squandering a large chunk. And squandering or hoarding or whatever wasn't even necessarily the cause. If you want to eat more of that group of food and you would actually be eating it in real time, it's not necessarily taking more than you can use, but it is taking from the general availability, which when we're in times of plenty doesn't need any oversight. But during the war, they considered it a necessity to control the consumption of goods stateside. to kind of stave off any idea of a complete drought of things or a complete lack of things. And overall, it worked pretty well, and people had points left over regularly. But you know, it was a transition. Like for a while, there was coffee and sugar, and then there was coffee, sugar, gas, and then everything. You know, and then there's all kinds of foods that they didn't assign points to. So, like for instance, if you bought apples, they didn't cost any points. You could go to a store and you could buy all the apples that they have. So, I mean, this led to some really interesting recipes in the general civilian world during that war period, because people were trying to figure out how to make the best of, you know, what points they had available and what foods were in the stores. So you see, you know, that's where you see things like these Jell-O salads with hot dogs suspended or whatever, you know, came from, or, you know, like celery and mayonnaise and walnuts, you know, as a sandwich topper, or who knows, just things. And then you saw a lot of stuff become popular in you know, in the US day-to-day life during this phase, because people stumbled upon really good ideas, and, you know, all of a sudden people actually like these, you know, these lower end foods, or, you know, just filler foods previously that were what was easy to produce, and you know, what kind of was available during the rationing period. I put this chat way too far away. Let me see if I can fix that. Whew. Come on. All right. Just gonna bring that right up here. There we go. You guys can't see that though, so sorry if it seems a little crazy. Ambrosia salad. I very much like ambrosia salad. Ooh, yeah, Oscar, one of the other things I want to be able to do is get the collection, the written collection, fully scanned and online for anyone to download the PDFs, because we have I want to say like 103 or 105 civil defense booklets and pamphlets right now, and probably 50 or 60 Army ration related books that I think would be great to get out there. If the copies, you know, in a lot of cases people are like, oh, well, they're already scanned. But if you would know, a lot of you guys would know, if you're grabbing one of these scanned PDFs of, you know, a technical manual or field manual, you know, you're grabbing FM 2962 from 1961, the pictures in that scan are going to be basically useless. They're going to be black blocks or grayscale blocks where every detail inside the pictures have melted into like an amalgamation in the shape of the picture. So to get the original paper ones rescanned in high fidelity, that's a nice goal. I have a whole bunch of good stuff, you know, from like the Army Baker to the, you know, like the standard B ration distribution methods, etc. So I want to get those scanned and available for people to download and reference, you know, the clean, fresh copies. So that list isn't online yet, but the actual list of what the museum has in the collection in terms of rations, that's now online at collection.rationmuseum.com. So I will be getting to the point where all of the books are in there too, and the scans and stuff. The books will be there long before the scans are, in terms of being listed. And then at that point, maybe, you know, we could see if there's anything that you've got a spare of, or anything that might not be in the collection. But yeah, there's quite a few books that I'd like to share better quality copies with nice pictures and stuff, you know. And hey, I missed you jumping in, Amelie. Can't stay long. Definitely going to check out the VR chat world with my friends. Yeah, you can hop right on in. It's public now as of 4 days ago, so you don't even need the community labs restrictions turned off. But you do need, they call them untrusted URLs in the settings. You probably already have it turned off so you can watch movies and stuff in there, but the theater runs from a box in my basement, actually, so that's quote unquote, wait, can I do 2 fingers? I was gonna do the like untrusted, but I can't. Let's see. I lost. There we go. I lost chat for a second. And thank you very much, Kaylynn. I'm glad you think this looks cool. This has been a fun adventure getting to this part, and I consider this the beginning. This was the proof of concept, just to try, you know, because these are easy. These are just pictures. It's just the next stage is going to be where it steps up a notch in terms of difficulty. And I may even have it to where like that's a separate room or world at first, and it's just like the unboxing room where you get to pick a ration and stand at a table and break it into pieces, you know. So we'll see. Yeah, I could put rations all around this and have the ads up above. That's a great idea, you know. Right now I've got photos of the collection, but yeah, scanning is going to take right now. I mean, the next thing is figuring out the right tech that I want to use 1,000 times, you know, like I've got a process that works okay. Like it produces pretty high quality scans, but it takes like 6 or 7 minutes per scan. And that's, you know, that's a little maddening, but I want to find a way that I can cut that down to a minute or 2 and produce scans where, you know, like in the sense that these are high detail and you can get right on into this smaller text, you know, and take a look through it. I want to get to the point where, you know, that's, you know, the same quality copy, you know, is visible when you're picking up and handling and getting really, you know, close up to a ration in here. So sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. I think I'm going to jump back out of this. Let's see, where is my control panel? Can I... Let's see. So this, I can actually show you guys. This is what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing, you know, these floating windows here that have all the controls and everything on them, so that when I'm talking to you guys, you're seeing just a clean open world. But, you know, I can have a camera in here. Let's see. You know, and then you can see up in the corner up there is, you know, what's coming out of my eyes in terms of like the controls and everything. But then over here, you know, I can have this camera, and the neat thing about it is it'll stay with me, you know, when I'm walking around in here, so I can, you know, I can kind of go around and explain something, and, you know, it'll keep the camera focused on me as I'm going around. So I like that. I think it's pretty neat. Plus, if I'm kind of wiggling around a lot, you know, you guys don't have to see the wiggling vision, but I can also do it to where it's not looking at me. Sorry for the shakiness there. Ah. What the heck? Oh. Duh. Okay. So I can also do it to where this is the camera as I'm wandering, and I can use, so I'm like, my hand's shaking, the camera's tilting around, but I've got smoothing and leveling turned on, so it's a much more even pan. I should have been using this, honestly, because then I can, it's still bouncing around a bit much, I bet. So we got, thought that was Gordon H. Wait. Oh, I missed some chunk. See, a small table shelf. Thought that was Gordon H. Thought what was Gordon? I must have missed something. You know, or like, did you see somebody that looked like him in one of these pictures? Or you mean me? The 3D, you know, the VR me that we were looking at a minute ago. Wait. This is sort of meant to look like me, but it's not perfect by any means. So I'm still working on this too, but you know, I mainly spend my days in here as a giant hot dog, and I didn't know if presenting as a hot dog was what you guys would want to see, but I mean, see, that's everything. I'm like going in here like, oh God, is there anything that's going to be kind of awful? Come back. You're way up too high. There we go. So the hot dog, I don't know. I think it's hilarious, and I don't know. I've spent a lot of time in this hot dog form wandering the metaverse. So let this hot dog show you some ads about meat. Here we go. See, is this coming through backwards? No, that's coming through the right way. That's good. So this is one of my favorite ads. I hope you guys enjoy. It's from the Meat Council, or the American Meat Institute. Eat your meat. All right. I will call that good for the VR side of things. Wait, where's the... Oh, you know, it's funny you say Ration Museum mascot, because now I kind of want to make an avatar mascot for the museum. That popped into my head yesterday, and it's like, hey, it's Rashy, the ration. It's like, but what would be a good, you know, walking around talking ration? So, you know, feel free to send me your thoughts on that at Sean@RationMuseum.com, or tweet it at Ration Museum if you have any thoughts. You know, that would be hilarious to, you know, to get an actual mascot for the museum. Let's see, let me swap this back over, because you don't need the in-head vision. But like, so even just putting this together so that I could actually show you guys this, you know, was a bunch of extra stuff to figure out. But I mean, I kind of want to stream more from NVR in general. So, you know, this was just something I needed to figure out long term. So, okay, I'm going to hop back out of here, and excuse me, I will see you guys as soon as I get back down to the basement. Okay, hey, I am back. So honestly, I am pretty darn happy with how that works overall in terms of being able to swap between those. Yeah, that's some pretty cool tech. NDI. Wait, why did that not have? Oh, interesting. So, let's see, we got 20-ish minutes left. Okay, that's better. All right, let's try and get the 3D scanning space running. So I'm gonna need to take this portable cam over there, retrain some lights, audio. I'm not gonna have audio over there. I meant to get mic'd up this time, so I'll put that on the notes for next time. Sweet, I will check that out, Kaylynn. Sweet, that's awesome. I've got high hopes. We'll figure something out. All right, I'm gonna put up the Be Right Back for just 1 minute, and then I'm gonna have to talk loud, I guess. Oh shoot. Yeah, I'm missing a lot for that setup, to be honest. Maybe we don't necessarily get to that today. No, we can do it. I just won't be able to see chat, and I won't be able to, you probably won't be able to hear me that well, but it's just going to be some setup, and we'll get the space ready for doing some small scanning. We'll see how it goes. Be right back. See, last check on chat for a minute, but Kaylynn saying, did not take any rations to camp. I was with others and we shared meals. Friday, one person spit roasted 4 chickens over the fire. Oh, that sounds really good. All right, so this is going to be the space for doing some scanning. I'm going to clear some stuff out of here. Okay, just a little USB cable. Oh, that's for that. I actually have some drawers and everything down here now too. And you can see there's some schmutz on the surface of the table right now, but it's actually that will be no more. There's a plastic lined the ceiling here. It's an old house, and stuff filters down through the floorboards and whatnot while I'm walking around upstairs, and when heavy traffic's going by and the whole place vibrates. If I didn't have the ceiling taped off, basically I'd be coming down here to a fine layer of dust and house dirt, just kind of waiting for me. So this is actually working really well. I've got the plastic in here. I do need staples, which are showing up tonight, supposedly. They should be here in the next 2 hours. And then I can finish pushing the ceiling up, and then put up the green screen backer for this 3D scanning space so that I can do bigger items. But for right now, I'm thinking I might just set up a light box and try and do some smaller scans. So this is the medium board that I can use. The big one I still have at the museum. Actually, I guess this is the out of 4. This is 3 out of 4. This is 2 out of 4. And the mini, the base model is this. This one that's like on the platform. So I've got this scanning. Well, not scanning. I've got this slow 360 turntable. Honestly, it's slower than it needs to be. It takes a full minute to rotate, and you could probably get away with rotating every 20 seconds. So I don't know. I may look at ways to screw with that and try and change the speed. These boards are very fragile, unfortunately, so I gotta be careful with them. The edges are just very easily dented. Alright, so the light box, I'm thinking with a white backdrop and sides. Is this it? No. Yeah, upside down. So I've got some lights in here, but I think I'm going to try and use these bigger lights. I'm going to try and speak as clearly as I can. I know I'm outside of the normal range for this mic, but hopefully I'm coming through okay. I'll check on chat again in a minute. Unfortunately, it's not like in VR where I can just bring up one arm and have all my info waiting for me. Okay, so this is going to need to fold before I stand it up. Didn't have enough space. Something's still wrong here. Velcro strip up here. How much of this can you guys even see? Not a ton. Okay, thanks for letting me know you can hear clearly, Kaylynn. I appreciate that. That makes me less paranoid. All right, so just gonna assemble this. Backdrop has seen better days. It's had so many old rations on it. attaches in there. And then the sides kind of pop over it, and then we're good. Okay, so with the lighting that's coming in here, there's definitely not enough in the box. Let's try backing it up. Nope. So try moving this much closer. Nope. So this maybe as the front light. So I've got two little side lights for this. Yeah, the idea was going to be to light this whole space up with these with these larger set lights. I'm just going to need more. I have more. I'm just going to need to bring them down to this space because this is dark in there. Better without. You know, it's pretty much a good deal brighter just to leave the sides open there, which isn't necessarily what I'm trying to do. Trying to get really even lighting on everything, but I'm going to need more light from different angles, I think. And I'm going to need to run electricity over here, which I had a plan. That plan has a few little holes in it now that I think about it. I'm trying not to have cords that I'm going to trip on if I can avoid it. So right now I've got lights and cables and stuff going up through the ceiling in a lot of spots. Let's see, so I'm going to do that some more. Hopefully not get any spider bites. There, gonna lose some light over there. That's another nice side of having the plastic up, is I should reduce the chances of random spiders falling on me during the stream. Probably not turn it to 0, but reduce. Hopefully significantly. So now I've got another line of power coming this way. Hey, sorry. Jamming my face in there. Alright, so then we got that, we got that. That's not bad. That can work out for now. So then sure. I guess most shots are going to be from here beyond. I just want to be able to easily trim out the background, which is probably going to come down to turning everything green screen eventually. So I've got the green screen backdrop that I want to connect up in here and pull down across this whole space, and then would probably want to get some green screen material to cover this whole thing and make it easier, because it's not, if I don't use clone, then I don't need these mats. But my thought had been to scan a yellow HDR, but even that's not going to be a big enough board for it. Yeah, it needs to take up basically no more than like this much of the inner space. Let's see, can you guys see the, yeah, okay. You know, I mean, this doesn't look too poorly lit from this from this perspective. All right, let's try. Let's see if it can even fit the large one. Or the next size up. All right. And I've got a green screen sheet and I have a white sheet. White is fine too, to try and balance out a lot of the time. So with this setup, that's about the right size there. I'm gonna need a piece of tape. I want to seal this just for the scan, because this is the one I. Oh, okay, I just heard it slightly touching against the fabric back there. So this is the one Amelié found me on UK eBay. I think she found it. I know Jim over there picked it up, or let me ship it to him and then reshipped it, which super duper nice. Very much appreciated. But this thing, this went for 35 bucks or 35 pounds. I can't remember. So I've spent a lot more on shipping it than I did on the actual ration. But overall, super duper super thrilled for a complete one of these in great shape. This will make for a great scan. We'll have a nice example of a Menu 3 yellow HDR, with all of its components. The one that's in the museum prior to this was the one that Steve ate on stream, so there's missing pieces, but it has been the best example we've had to date, and still insanely appreciative of him for sending that over to the museum. So let me be right back. I'm going to grab some tape just to close that up. And then since I've got the board, I'm going to try and do, maybe a scan of this with clone, and then a scan of it with, an alternate program. I trust DJ Teo, who came on earlier. If he's saying Polycam produces low quality, I trust that he knows what he's talking about, so I don't think I'm going to go down that road today. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. See, now, part of the problem, depending on the angle that you're looking at this, there's some reflection where I can see the checkerboard pattern in the plastic, which was one of the problems I have with this material. With pure green screen or pure white, what you see reflected in it may not matter as much, but still somewhat noticeable. Hey, Smitty. Good to have you. I'm just wrapping up today with attempted a 3D scan of what I want to be the first disassemble ration in VR, where you can start with you can start with the sealed ration and open it up and take the contents out one by one. Plus, this ration is such a interesting history footnote, with such a more wide-reaching appeal, in terms of just intellectual curiosity than just rations in general, because this comes along with the story of the yellow cluster munitions, and there's a human element to it that doesn't necessarily come attached to a lot of the other items from the era. So let's see. I was going to use WIDAR, and I'm going to use clone. So while I've got it on this particular platform, I'm going to open up clone. And I think when I go to scan it with WIDAR, I'm going to flip this to the plain side. I forget who I used to make these up. They did a great job. They're really nice boards, and they work perfectly for the purpose. You know, it's just, it gives them some scale. Although now I realize the reason that everything's coming out so tiny is that it thinks that this is like this big. So I need to measure this and set the scale accurately. Okay, so booting up clone. Now this isn't going to be a super fancy, let's get out a rig and put this on a rig. That may come again down the road. Oh, huh, I did this in both. Oh yeah, there were some weird artifacting issues. So these are things that I've scanned already. Some of them turned out pretty good. Okay, so I've done a lot more than 12. I guess I forgot. Now the originals that are in this app, they're pretty darn good. Like this Duncan's is very, very clear, you know, in here, but it's a giant file when I try and take it out. It was shiny when it was photographed, so unfortunately it's got a lot of reflection in it, but I just realized I probably shouldn't have a rotating surface to try and use the augmented reality mode. Oop. And I crashed the phone. Alright. Just give that a moment. I'll check chat again. Crasher. Hey CT. Welcome. Good to have you. All right. Let's get this open again. Yeah, the main reason that I'm not getting clone again anytime soon for my current phone is that it seemed to be more and more unstable version to version and was crashing a lot. So that may be a problem, but oops, not going to want to see that. Oh God, it's running in such slow motion. What's crazy is how does it have good detail for the sides if I'm up there when it's recording even the lower levels, so I don't know. Oh, crashed. Yep. Alright, so was this the phone that crashed all the time? I thought this one has all the good scans on it, so alright, so clone's not working out right now. That's alright. We're gonna flip this board. We're gonna try WIDAR. rotating object and see how it deals with that. So LiDAR is one where I'm going to be able to kind of squeeze in and get up close to the item. So it shouldn't matter too much that the background isn't rotating too, but camera speed I'm going to put slow, just so it takes nice. Well, okay, now I'll leave it on medium. So it's a little dark looking. I'm going to get more light in close. All right, that looks good. Now start low. So this is just taking photos at an interval. And you're supposed to just be kind of walking around the thing. And you take as many photos as you can of the object. You know, and at a certain point it's like, okay, I can reassemble from here, but it's crazy, and you would not want to actually let it try and build a model from that few photos. I can't remember if I did that side or not. Rotate. But yeah, this I should be able to get away with, you know, like 2 full rotations instead of, you know, 6. So 2 minutes instead of 6 minutes, which, well, I'm still doing this by hand, which is going to be a little while probably. You know, a savings of 66% would be, you know, something I would not turn away. Just making sure I get clean shots of the text. There's some blur in it, and that might be a little hard for the system to put back together. Okay. So we're gonna take these 112 pictures and try and make a 3D model out of those. Oh, okay. All right, this can take a little while, the more pictures you give it. So I'm going to go back to the computer. Oh. Yeah, we're at 8%, so this is gonna be a little bit. I've had this fail before too, so here's hoping it doesn't. Grab a few more peanuts while I'm waiting. CT saying if you took his wife's photo album and extracted and tried to make 3D models out of it, you'd just get the cat and the dog. That sounds about right for a lot of people. I think a lot of people take more pictures of their pets than anything else. I had really great kitty, pass a few years ago, and afterwards realized I didn't take nearly enough photos of them. Like I have a bunch of photos, but across 15 years I only have like 24 pictures, so that was not enough. So I try and take more of my current cats. But more means, it's a relative term for me. It's every couple months I might take a burst of a few shots. So this is at 20%. This is going to take a little while, but that's the nice thing. This particular one, LiDAR, doesn't use your local machine for the processing. It does it in the cloud on much stronger hardware. I have 2 cats. Yeah, just 2. I tend to have 2 so that they aren't alone, but these 2 absolutely hate each other to the point of violence, like not funny violence, not like they'll get over it violence, but we are currently 2 years in as of last month, and they will attack on sight to the point of, I've had to pull claws out of the other, from both of them. I've had to take the other one's claws out of, both cats. So now there's a separation between my upstairs and downstairs, and one cat has the upstairs and the other cat has, the main floor and the basement. Shabby's probably within 20 feet of me right now. She usually would stay around. Psst, 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 psst. Shabby. Come here. I don't know. Normally that would work. Dogs are pretty much cats. Are they small dogs? Tiny dogs are pretty much cats. Yeah, okay, that's what you said. So we're at 35% on processing this. Maybe I will finish all these chickpeas. Yeah, there's no good way to show you a handful of chickpeas like backwards and over. Litter boxes can be a pervasive smell, for sure, depending on where you have it in your house. The cats themselves don't smell, unless they've got a weird diet, or like a parasite or something sometimes. But but yeah, dogs have a smell and a feel and an everything. But I mean, like, I guess if you wash your dog all the time, sorry, I'm not a dog person. Is that thing picking up? I guess it is just that microphone. It's picking up more background noise than I would think it would. It seemed like it was picking up the crunches and the chickpeas. Pull the CT. What are you talking about? What does that mean? What did I do? All right, we're at 50% processing. This is going to take a while. Estimated time 700 seconds. Okay, so I guess that means we're probably 350 in, so we're looking at, you know, almost 12 minutes. Got it. Okay. Oh, you thought okay. You thought I knocked the camera down, or yeah, okay. Oh, the food. Yeah, every time I try, yeah, there's definitely a nut or two down there that I'll have to get at some point. At least it's, you know, it's bare concrete down here. Anything will show up. I try and have sound absorbing stuff around me. I listened to a replayed part of last week, and I think the audio sounds pretty good for being a webcam microphone in a empty basement. But with some sheets hung up in front of me and all the stuff that makes noise for the most part turned off, I think the audio's okay. Probably only at 58. Oh hey, it just jumped to 90, 91. Okay. All right, some part of it. Okay, now we're done. All right, so it really only had to make it to 50 before. All right. So one of the other, doesn't look perfect. All right. Let's see. Go ahead. Oh, that's right. This has a very short leash. It's gonna need some cleanup, but so does every other one that I've done so far. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this to focus again. Come on, you were fine a second ago. Okay. Okay, I am quite pleased. Like, look at each individual, like, so that's the thing. This outline is what I was thinking was going to make it harder to scan. That's there on the actual packaging. That like double stamped outline on some of the text. It's on the top line of this text up here too, but it's not on most of the rest of them. So like that's in the real. Oh. There, come on. You're doing so well. There we go. So like the scuffs in the plastic and everything, like this this model is going to be pretty usable. Now the problem is it won't have a back, and I know there are techniques that I can use to put a back and front together, but it gets really iffy. So I mean, I think I am going to go ahead and scan the back as well. But overall, I'd say that one turned out very good, very usable. I'm going to save it. And let's see. put that back there. And let me title this Yellow HDR. Front. Don't know. There's like a spot to tag it with numbers and I don't know why. So, oh well. So yeah, I am pretty darn happy with that. I think the level of detail is very nice going down in there. The side is a little wonky and I probably will, I don't know, I may do this whole scan again because the one side is a little squished up for some reason, and it isn't in reality. It was just I don't think I got a low enough pass on that area, so it guessed its way through. Some of these corners are a little weird. So I mean, that's the thing, like this one can make very detailed models that look very nice, but then they'll have these holes and gaps in them. And the one that DJ Teo showed me earlier in the stream, I'm going to have to give that a shot because that one looks like it uses AI to fill in some of the gaps. And that would be nice, you know, if it can understand, you know, the surrounding materials well enough to do some good gap filling. But it didn't, in the example he sent, it didn't look crisp detail. So I don't know, we'll see. It did very well with negative space, you know, like where there's a 3D object with space around it or something with a hole through it. Scanning that in 3D can be pretty difficult. So it looked like it did a really good job figuring out the structure of a freeform 3D object with like a hanging cord and everything. So I don't know. This is all the fun side of things, is just trying to experiment with this. Honestly, this setup, you know, thanks for bearing with me and letting me snap something together. I think it worked out okay for right now. It's the main thing is that I'll be able to just keep trying things down here without having to tear it apart, put it together, tear it apart, put it together. I know that I need to put more lights in that area, probably 2 or 3 more lights. And you know, the white doesn't seem so bad, so I may just white backdrop the entire thing and use these boards upside down like that, so that there's like a clean, you know, clean background while it's scanning. So, okay, I am gonna wrap this up here and call this good for this week. We went a little over this time, which is actually, you know, it makes up for last time. We did an hour and a half last week, and we'll do 2.5 this week. So, holy moly, someone's turning 40. Wait, who are we talking about? Me or you guys? I do have a birthday coming up, but I know there's a lot more of us in the overall community born in 1982 for some reason. But yeah, so I will be 40 in, it's the 14th, so a month, a week, and a couple days. So 2 days before Christmas. But for now, still not 40. I am still a dude in my 30s just hanging out in a basement, you know. So, yeah. Lordy, almost 40. Anyway, thanks for that right before the end of the stream, putting that in my head. No, it's all good. I think this was a lot of fun. Anybody who missed it, go back to about the 1 hour mark, maybe 1:10, something like that. I did a tour of the museum in VR, and it was my very first time streaming from VR, and it went pretty well, I think. I'm gonna have to go back myself and nitpick what came out of it and see if what I saw in the headset was hopefully worse than what actually got broadcast as the stream, so we'll see. But overall, I had a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys were able to come hang out this week, and I will be back probably next week. We'll play it by ear, look for a scheduled broadcast. If it says the following week, then, you know, I'll see you then. But I'll get that figured out soon. Probably we'll be back next week. And, you know, just going to keep on scanning, keep on working on the VR project, and, you know, just keep moving this forward one little bit at a time. So thanks again, guys, for coming out. Always appreciate it. And until next time, stay rational.